All right, so hi, I'm Starr, and I'm here with Al Morris III and Screaming Mad Dee of Iron Man. And we're here to talk today about their up-and-coming album, South of the Earth. Got some questions for you guys. How are you doing today?
Good.
Doing good.
Very good.
Good.
Doing well.
So, let's talk a little bit about how Iron Man began. About how long, Al, have you been working on this project?
Well, we were a Sabbath tribute. We started in '88. The first show actually was in August of '88, and then I had been on the side writing some original stuff. And then in '92, we sent a demo out over Germany to Hellhound Records, and they liked what they heard, and they signed us. So we've been recording act since that point. And over the years, we had many different people coming in and out of the band. But I was the tree that held it together all these years. So now we got a great, fantastic lineup with Dee on the vocals, Lewis on the bass. We got Mont on the drums, and I'm still on the guitar. So
You're still Sergeant Hulka with the big toe.
yeah, we got a solid unit, and we can write at will. It's amazing what we can do.
Oh, that's nice. And Dee, you've been in several bands as well throughout the years. Tell me a little bit about that.
Oh, my. To save everyone time, I'll just speak of the more relevant ones. Most recently, I was in Land of Doom, which also featured Russ Strahan, who went on to play in Pentagram for a while. And After Therapy, another band that incidentally began as a Sabbath tribute. And then we incorporated original material into our live set and did some recording. And I think it was through that project that I became, that the guys in Iron Man became aware of me and what I could do and what I brought to the table. And it just kind of went from there.
And let's talk a little bit about this album, South of the Earth. Why don't you tell me what inspired this album to get put together?
Well, the title-wise, there's kind of a funny story involved in that. Going back to Land of Doom, we recorded a song called This Cursed Earth. And then when Russ left Land of Doom to play with Pentagram, he took the riff, and Bobby wrote lyrics, and that song became known as South of the Swamp. So I just sort of, in a moment of, I'm going to write something called South of the Earth. And it was a throwaway kind of a gesture, but then, the little grain of sand got planted and started churning, and finally it turned into a pearl. And I sat on it for a while. Actually, the full length that I did with After Therapy, I pitched the concept to them, and they were kind of about it. So I filed it back away. And very soon after I joined Iron Man, I showed Al the concept art that I had for it, and he's like, "That's the cover of our next CD. That's the title of our next CD."
It was fantastic. Yes.
So I was very glad that the guys in After Therapy weren't that blown away by it.
Yeah, it turned out working out for you.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes.
That's great. Another question I had, I found out that you guys all suggested that you do backup vocals, and this is on this album on a song, and I believe the song is "Hail to the Haze," and you've never done that on any albums, have you? Like putting backup vocals on there?
No. No Iron Man background vocals. No, this is a first for us.
That's nice, and they sound wonderful. I love it. I love it.
Yeah, and it was hilarious because we all it was Al, Lewis, and myself. Just gather around a mic in the control room, and Frank hit playback, and we did it 4 times.
Yeah.
And after the 4th one, I remember when Frank hit stop, you looked at me and says, "Man, I gotta go sit down."
Yeah, it took all the wind out of me, I tell you.
A little bit about Al, and if you want to give us a little bit of insight on your tone and maybe how you come up with some of your riffs.
Well, what I do actually, which people find funny, is I stand in front of a mirror and I just play, and they come out of the air. All of a sudden, I'm playing things. I'm going, hey, this is pretty good.
If he gets an erection, it's a keeper.
I said, okay. So I kicked a few riffs around that they have to kind of qualify first before I bring them to the guys, because what they have to do is they have to inspire them to play up to their best to the riff, and then I have to inspire whatever lyric that Dee is going to put with it. So I have to have like a double loaded riff when I come back to practice. Okay? So yeah, like I said, I stand in front of a big mirror and I play, and these riffs come out, and I have to play them a few times to remember them, because I don't record them. I just remember them and then bring them in and say, guys, check this out. Then we record it there, and everybody kind of puts their little piece together, and we play them a little, jam them, tape them, and then Dee takes them and makes magic.
Wow, that's really interesting.
And we'll ask him sometimes, hey, you got any new riffs? And he'll say, well, I got 2 or 3, but they're only at half mast, so they still need some work.
So basically, he brings these riffs to you guys, and then you kind of add your parts to it. Everybody does it based off Al's riffs.
Exactly.
That's wonderful. That's one very great riffs, and I want to say that I just got a sneak peek of that new album, and you guys are in for it. It's awesome, you guys. It's
Her head didn't stop moving.
I swear, I was blown away. I mean, Al with these riffs, these amazing riffs, Dee with these incredible lyrics, and I do want to get into your lyrics, because I mean, I hope you're putting the lyric sheet in with the CD, because it's a must. I mean, the ones that I could catch, while I'm just trying to take everything in, the music and everything else, the ones that I could catch were very heavy and very deep. You have a wonderful skill for writing lyrics, and I'm just wondering how you come about, getting that inspiration to write them, or how they come. Were the incidences all that happened in your life that inspired you to write them, or was it, just kind of like, I just feel like writing about this? How does that work for you?
It's a very simple process. I write what I feel, which causes great distress to my sister, because she'll read them and then get upset, because what I write tends to be very introspective and dark. So it's as simple as that. Just writing what I feel here. I'm lucky enough to be a pretty good wordsmith to be able to express myself. I also will write based on other works. Enormous H.P. Lovecraft fan.
Absolutely, I was going to ask you about that. That's definitely.
And there is a song that's based on a Lovecraft work.
Yeah, you got references to Cthulhu and some other things going on in that. I mean, it's a wonderful, wonderful song. Like I said, oh my goodness, you did a great job lyrically with
the song "This Cursed Earth" that I mentioned from Land of Doom was Lovecraft inspired as well.
Al, just to get back really quick to you probably did answer it in a sense, but I was wondering about, I love talking to you about this tone thing. Your tone is amazing. Your tone is absolutely amazing.
Actually, what it is listening to Black Sabbath over the years. I first got into it from like the tones on like the Paranoid album, so that's how I first started with that tone. But then when Master of Reality came out, what I'm really trying to capture, people think I'm trying to get Iommi's tone. That's part true, but what I'm actually doing is I'm trying to get the sound of Geezer and Tony together.
Nice.
So that's why I have that heavy bass bottom end on the guitar with the high end on the top. So that's what I'm doing. And I just dial in a little more bass to get that extra presence that Geezer brought with the total Sabbath sound on. And of course, everybody that heard Iron Man, they know that the Mastery of Reality album is a huge influence on everything I do. So that's it. That's
Sabbath,
that tone.
man. It's Sabbath.
That gives Lou a lot of room to breathe too. And
Exactly.
if you listen to Lou's sound, his bass tone has a lot of punch and mid-range in it.
Yeah, definitely.
Al's coding the spectrum well enough that Lou doesn't have to be mired down underneath everything to hold the bottom. The two of them together can hold the bottom.
Yeah, and for the guitar players out there, just to know what you play out of, and do you use any pedals? Do you have?
Yeah, well, the amplifier from day one has been the Sun Beta Lead. I have 2 of those, and They run strong, never broke down. They give me the tone I need every night. Only thing I have to do at the end of each show, I turn the bass off, the bass control, and each new venue I go into, I dial it in again for that night. Because the rooms are different.
Yes, absolutely.
And I dial it into that little place in my ear where I know, okay, this is it right here, and I know it. Everything else I don't touch. Everything else stays the same. Well, in the master volume, I have to adjust that, but all the other knobs are right where they're supposed to be.
Nice.
The cabinets I got were carbon cabinets, and I loaded them with Eminence Commonwealth speakers, 12-inch, and I think they're like 50 watts a piece. So,
okay.
And then as far as the pedals, I use like the Electro Harmonix, Electric Mistress, the Memory Man. I have a Behringer Time Machine. These are all like echo units and stuff. I have an acoustic simulator, and I have the original Electro Harmonix Crying Tone Wah Wah. It's got like a really wide range. I mean, the pedal moves like 3 or 4 inches away from the bass. I mean, Crybabies, they move a little bit, but this pedal goes way wide, so I can get a huge range of tones.
Nice.
And then of course I have the Unifuzz, which I got when it came out, and for like $69, but I see them on eBay and other places for like $800 to $1,000.
Wow.
Like,
So you got
sorry guys.
Nice.
One of the guitarists that played the show last weekend told me that as soon as he heard you start playing, he ran up there to see what you were playing through. And he said, I looked down at that pedal board, and I'm like, oh my God, that stuff's all older than me. That's awesome.
One more question about all that is your guitar, and do you have a name for it? Like most guitar players tend to name their guitars, and
No, I don't name them. I don't name them. They're all kind of like ladies though, but because if you squeeze them, they squeal. So the main live guitars,
main squeeze.
The main live guitars I use the 73 SG Standard, and nothing's been done to it. They're all stock.
It's just been squeezed. That's all.
Yeah, I just squeeze it.
Main
with it.
squeeze.
I gotta get that tone. Then I have BC Rich. I have two BC Rich Mockingbirds, which they're a lot like a Les Paul and an SG together. So I enjoy playing those on stage too. They're a little different tone than the SG, but they play well. I like them. People have seen the amber colored Special X, but I have the Evil Edge, which is a special limited edition. I'm going to break that out probably this year. It's
Nice.
Black guitar with a chrome pickguard, so it's pretty evil looking.
I like it. Some questions. Lewis isn't here, but I know Lewis.
If Lewis were here, none of us would have said anything.
Yeah, he's definitely missed right now. But Lewis has been around. I mean, playing Iron Man with you for a little while now. How long and how did that come about? Because he was in Life Beyond before that, and some other bands
And Wretched,
locally.
yeah.
And what?
And Wretched also.
Wretched, that's right. So how did that come about that Iron Man, that you started working with Lewis?
Yeah, I think after, I think it was the 2000 tour we had, everything kind of fell apart again. So
Yeah.
I had a long hiatus, where nothing was going on with Iron Man. And I think that's when I picked up a manager, and we started trying to kind of piece things together. And then I think Lewis was jamming with Gus on drums, and he was like, we're going to try to find Al, man, see what he's up to, what's he doing, And so Lewis got a hold of me, and he said, hey, you got to come over and jam over with me and Gus. I was like, yeah. I said, that sounds good. I've seen these guys jamming, and they can, both of them kick ass, So it was actually it was the year was 2006, and the first time we got together was June 6th, 2006. It was a Tuesday night, and the first song that we wrote that night was Sodden with Sin. That was the first song. Well, the music itself.
Right.
That's the first thing we put together, and we were pretty happy with it. I think, and then in days to follow, I think the next one that we put together was called Run From the Light. Well, that's the music for Run From the Light. So.
Okay.
And they're both
We
still
don't
in the
title
live
them.
set.
I'm sorry, what?
They're both still in the live set.
Yeah. We never title the stuff. We let the lyricists do that. We just put the riffs together and we have the songs and say, hey.
So basically, and I also know that from when Dee started, you had a different drummer, and then now you have a new drummer. And how's that going? I mean, let me know a little bit about Mott.
No, Mott's been a godsend. When we started auditioning drummers near the end of 2011, we had a lot of guys come out, and it was a hard choice. Yeah, we made up our minds. We weren't just going to grab the first dude that walked through the door that looked like he could play. You know, we owed it to ourselves and to everybody out there who follows the band, you know, to wait and get the right guy. Well, Mott came in and already knew we could play a set of material with him, and he ended up actually doing a show with us before he was an actual member of the band.
Wow.
So that definitely, you know, put a big check mark by his name. But we wanted to stick to our guns. You know, we had other guys come out, and, you know, we had to hash it around a little bit. But Mott plays great. He's a great guy. You know, we've known him for a long time. One of the first shows I did with Iron Man, Mott was there. And he did his homework. I mean, we could tell he had a good work ethic. So he was just a natural choice to do it, and he's worked out great. He's brought a great element to the material, and if he chases that dog outside away, you know, he'll get an even bigger check out of this guy's name.
Yeah, it's authentic sounding.
Oh, fantastic.
Yeah, so you guys are doing great, and again, like I said, you guys are in for a treat with this new album. Wonderful job that you guys did with the whole thing.
Thank you.
Seems like this is a great lineup for you guys, and you're going strong. Tell me a little bit about, if you don't mind, and let me in on some of the great experiences that you guys have had as a group.
Oh, well, let's see. What I enjoy is when the people know the music, you know, and they sing with us. That sounds real cool on stage to us, you know. And everywhere we go, I mean, Canada, Baltimore, New York, wherever, if they know the stuff, they sing it back to you. I think that's cool, you know.
That's a high
I get
point.
a kick out of that for sure.
Yeah.
And I always like a new area that we haven't played yet, and we bring our sound in there, and I kind of just peek at people and watch their mouths drop open because they can't really believe, they can't have their ears believe what their eyes see. You know what I mean? It's funny.
It's great.
So yeah, that's what I get a kick out of, definitely. Yeah.
And if you could pick out one of your favorite songs, maybe each of you, like off the album, or, you know, I know a big time, like, close show, like to close the show out, you guys did a lot of times Black Knight. It's a big deal song. I mean, I know that anytime you guys played as Iron Man and you've closed the show out with that, I mean, it's a big punch. It's like a good ending
Yeah,
for
it
the show.
closes the door. Yeah.
It really does. You guys, I mean, is there another favorite song that you just gets you going when you're playing?
For me, I mean, I love them all.
Yeah.
I'm really, and you know, I think of the newer stuff, I'm really liking title track a lot, South of the Earth. I like that a lot, you know, for live, because the riff is so heavy. I mean, I just love to watch the people react to it. It's so crazy.
My hair stood up. It was just one song after the next. I kept thinking, this is my favorite. No, this is my. I mean, they're so good.
Yeah,
and each of them have their own feel to them. They're not the same over and over again. They've got a definite feel to each of the songs, and they're wonderfully put together, guys.
That's something we pay attention to. We don't want ear fatigue, you know, and we don't want them, oh, well, that sounds like that one, you know. So, yeah, we want it to be an experience, you know, like they're traveling through a listening experience. You know, that's what we wanted. And, we pretty much got it on this album for sure.
You sure did. Dee, with your lyrics, when you're presenting them, like, what, you know, you're very into it. You know what I mean? All of that is through years of, playing live, do you think? And just, did you get any schooling or anything like that? Because you have a wonderful range in your voice.
The closest thing I can equate it to is I was a class clown growing up. And part of being a class clown is mimicking voices. And when I first heard Kiss when I was 9 years old and said, I want to do that, and started listening to Kiss records and singing along, I would mimic Gene's voice, and I would mimic Paul's voice, and everybody, and that's and that's just where it came from. And then over time, you start picking out the parts of each repertoire that you want to have present. I love doing those high Halford, Ian Gillan-esque screams, but I love to have that powerful mid-range, like Ronnie had. I love to have that soul that Ronnie Van Zant had. I always say with singers, it's the 3 R's: Rob Halford, Ronnie Dio, and Ronnie Van Zant. Mm-hmm. Right now, if I tried to scream, the engineer just said, give us that scream. Right now, if I tried to scream, it would probably be in color. And a lot of good fortune, I was just able to do it. And, that was part of that was laziness on my point. Like I mentioned earlier, I got into Kiss and, I want to play music. I don't know how to play music. Da-da-da-da-da. Listen to records. La, 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 la. Ooh, I can sing. Ooh, since I can sing, I don't got to ass around with learning no damn instrument,
Yeah. That was your instrument.
Years later, I became a very accomplished bassist. I play guitar. I played some keys and piano on the new record.
Yeah, you do that.
But, it was a progress. But singing, I never really, in the beginning, envisioned being a singer. But, hey, I can do it. That's my in,
You sure can. That's for sure. Real quickly, one more question for Al, if you don't mind. Just to give the listeners some kind of background on you. I'm fascinated with the fact that you've been around since, the 70s. You were in Force originally, the band Force. And when you started playing around that time, what was it like for you? Like, playing gigs back then, and what was Force like? Was it anything like Iron Man? You want to explain a little bit about it?
Well, no. I guess in the early days for me, everything was based around the top 40 rock songs or whatever. So, everything was based on playing covers. Then I wanted to kind of break out of that, so we put Force together and writing original stuff, and for a long time we didn't have a vocalist, and then we tried out a lot of vocalists, and then we met a male vocalist that seemed to work out, and we did a few gigs with him, and then we were doing one gig, and we couldn't find him. We were all at the place where we were supposed to play, but we couldn't find him. And then we found out that he was like drunk in the bathroom or something,
God.
and we couldn't play.
I think I know that dude.
So we auditioned some more singers. This young lady, which everybody knows now, is Simona Queen. She was the vocalist for Force, and we, did an EP and a full-length album. And they're both out there floating around in space.
I sure got it.
That's how that worked out. After those, we got with Sherry Bacon, and we had a band called Sherry Blade, which we did some recordings with her too. And that the time to try to do live shows really wasn't available during that era, so she moved on, and I think she had a band Chained Lace that she was able to do some shows with, so everything kind of progressed, and
because back then they wanted a lot of the shows to do wanted cover bands that could do covers, basically.
Right,
so you had to fit that bill, or find another following of people.
Exactly.
Right.
So I didn't really want to add covers to it. I just wanted to be all original, So a few more years went by, actually, and when I saw the Live Aid in '85, and we said, okay, well, Sabbath's the first band, And then, we found out that, well, they just got together for that thing and they're not going to do it anymore. And I was like, wow, I said, well, you know what?
Fill the void.
They're not going to come back. I mean, maybe we could do like a tribute or something, So I kicked the idea around a little bit and called around to some like booking agencies, and I found one in New York, and they were like, yeah, if you put a Black Sabbath thing together, we can book you, for sure. And by '88, I had it together, and that's how it.
And who was in that original lineup when you finally came out with the cover band? Who was the
Sabbath tribute?
Yes.
Yeah, we had Rob Levy on vocals. We had Nando Corrado on bass. We had Ed Schuster on the drums, and I was playing guitar. So.
How old were you when you started playing guitar?
Ooh, let me see. I was 8.
8 years old.
Yeah.
And wow, that's young.
Yeah.
Wow.
And it was a guitar that had nylon strings, except the low E was a wound string. And the rest of them were like really plastic strings.
But you learned it. You learned how to play
it. I banged around on it for a few years, and then I got an electric, an old Montgomery Ward's airline guitar and amplifier, and started getting into like the acid rock and stuff, psychedelic stuff, Hendrix and Steppenwolf and all that, and the rest is history.
That first guitar, did it have Top Cat on it or Huckleberry Hound?
No. Oh, the first one was it had like a cowboy on it. It's kind of like a Western type.
Awesome. Nice. So the new album's coming out, and do you guys have a date on it? When it's supposed to be coming out?
Soon.
Yes.
Okay, coming soon. Well, I look forward to hearing it. I know. Well, I already heard it. I look forward to others being able to hear what I heard today. It's amazing, you guys.
Fantastic.
Great job. I mean, wonderful. Is there anything else you want to fill us in on about the album, or?
Check it out when it comes out. You're going to love it.
Yeah.
Okay.
You're going to love it.
No ear fatigue.
That's right. That's true. Thank you, Iron Man. Thank you, Al, and Screaming Mad Dee. You guys were awesome. Thank you so much.
Thank you,
love, and
Starr.
All right.